Dexter Gordon is without a doubt one of the giants of jazz, and as well as having an immediately recognisable tone, he also has quite a distinctive harmonic language. So today, let's break down 3 of his favourite harmonic devices. Now, all of this, as well as a deep dive into how Dexter constructs melodies and uses rhythm, are covered in way more depth in my brand new ebook, Diggin' Dexter, available on my website now, and there's a link down in the description. Be sure to check it out to find out how you can start sounding more and more like Dexter himself. Now, one of the themes throughout all of this is Dexter's restraint. So many improvisers, both today and during Dexter's 1960s peak, cram their solos full of substitutions and other harmonic devices to create loads and loads of musical tension. And that's just not Dexter's vibe. And I want to really stress this because although we talk loads and loads about these things within jazz education, as Dexter's going to show us, keeping things super swinging with just selective use of these techniques creates killer solos. And talking of restraint, Dexter's most used harmonic device isn't some fancy substitution, it's harmonic reduction. And this is basically where you remove or ignore some of the chords, while still keeping the basic function of the harmony the same. So let's say you had a 2-5-1 progression in B flat major, so C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7. Now, the whole purpose of that chord progression is to get us to that B flat major, to cadence into that key. But to be honest, the 2 chord, the C minor 7, isn't strictly necessary for that. It's just there to provide some extra colour. You can do the same thing just with a 5 going to 1, so F7 going to B flat major. We still get a nice cadence. And removing that 2 chord, the unnecessary chord, is the harmonic reduction. Now, Dexter does this in a whole bunch of different ways, but the easiest ones to hear are when he's just riffing or whacking out some blues language. Check out the start of his solo on Second Balcony Jump from the album Go. It's a rhythm changes, so there's a whole load of chords going by quite quickly, and he just chills out and plays a killer blues line, and doesn't actually start outlining the harmony until bar 5. But more commonly than using blues language or riffs to do this, he'll reduce a 2-5 progression down to just the 5 chord. Bars 68 to 69 of that same solo have a super clear example of this. Did you hear that he just arpeggiates that 5 chord, the F7, and he completely ignores the 2 chord, the C minor 7? F arpeggio with the added flattened 9. And if I just looked at that and thought, oh, what are the chords? It just looks like it's a solid F7. Going to that B flat in the next bar, even though the rhythm section are playing a really clear 2 and 5 chord in the bar. Harmonic reduction. And in another version of Second Balcony Jump from the album Landslide, we hear that same concept in bar 28. That whole bar really clearly outlines the F7 going to the B flat in the next bar. Right? That really kind of wants to have just the F7. Going to B flat. He's completely ignored the C minor 7, even though the rhythm section are playing it. Right? Dexter's next most used harmonic device is delayed resolutions. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's where you stay on one chord for a little bit longer to delay the resolution to the next chord. So going back to our 2-5-1 in B flat, You might choose to stay on that C minor 7 for a couple of extra beats, even after the rest of the band has gone to the F7. So something like... Or you might decide to stay on the F7 for a little bit of time after the rest of the band have gone to that B flat. So something like... Whichever option you go for, it's really crucial to make sure your lines are super clear harmonically to create that tension as you delay the resolution. Now, Dexter does this in a whole load of different harmonic contexts, but it's mainly over 2-5-1s. In bar 67 of his solo on Cheesecake, again from the album Go, he's really clearly outlining the F minor 7. And then the next bar, the harmony goes to B flat 7, making it a 2-5. But Dexter carries on outlining the F minor 7 for another 2 beats, and doesn't actually hit the B flat 7 clearly until beat 3, delaying that resolution by 2 beats. Have a listen. And a similar thing happens in bars 14 and 15 of that same solo. Now the harmony here is a 2-5-1 in C minor, so we have D half diminished, G7, going to C minor. And Dexter really clearly outlines that G7, but then the rest of the band move to the C minor, and he kind of stays outlining the G7 for 2 more beats. And just like the last example, doesn't resolve until beat 3. Another delayed resolution. And his third favourite harmonic device? Well, we've finally hit the one you've all been waiting for, tritone substitution. And for those of you that don't know, a tritone sub is just when you replace a dominant or a 7 chord with one that's a tritone or diminished fifth away. So a G7 would be replaced with a D flat 7. And then if you put that into a 2-5-1 in C major, you'd end up with D minor 7, D flat 7, C major. Now, it's not particularly surprising that tritone subs are up there on this list, given how much we talk about them in jazz education, but what is really notable, especially when thinking about Dexter's style, is the restrained way in which he uses them. Bars 43 to 44 of his solo on the landslide version of Second Balcony Jump perfectly encapsulates this. It's just a really brief moment of substitution, just 2 beats long and at quite a fast tempo. Dexter rarely substituted long passages of harmony and instead favoured brief little moments like this. And not only that, but the way that he basically took the motif he was playing on the previous chord and then moved it down to match that substitution. It's simple, it's effective, it's classic Dexter. He does the same thing, almost note for note, in bars 123 and 124 on the Second Balcony Jump solo from the album Go. And we can hear the same idea of using motifs to get us into substitutions in bars 17 and 18 on his Willow Weep For Me solo on the album Our Man in Paris. And it's the same motif in both bars. He just moves it down in bar 18 to help facilitate that substitution. Cheeky little substitution. And sticking with that idea of restraint, tritone subs are almost exclusively used later on in his solos. His first chorus on Cheesecake and his first chorus on Second Balcony Jump don't have any tritone subs at all. And fine, yeah, there is a tritone sub in his first chorus on Willow Weep For Me, but by the point we get to it, he's been playing for 2 minutes 20 seconds. And that seems pretty restrained to me. And again, that restraint, where you're using devices like delayed resolutions that create some, but not huge amounts of tension quite often, and substitutions which create far more tension far less, is crucial to Dexter's style. If you practiced all of these devices and practiced using them sparingly, man, you'd start to sound like Dexter in no time. And be sure to check out my ebook and the link down in the description to get far more information about how he uses all of these and other harmonic devices, as well as an in-depth look into how he constructs melodies and uses rhythm. And if you want to brush up on your chord and theory knowledge to help you with these devices even more, check out this video next.